Hello, hello. Welcome back, everybody, to the Frivolous Writer, where you can join me on this journey of me writing my very first novel. Today's Tuesday, so that means I'm going to be reading another chapter from my rough draft. Very scary days every Tuesday, but they're scary in a very exciting way. I'm so actually kind of happy, kind of excited to read these to you. But I do have to admit, my writing has started to slow down. My mind is pulled into a million directions. For those of you who don't know, I had lost my job earlier this year, and so this was one of the passion projects that I did to try and keep myself busy. And it's been an awesome journey and adventure for me. But I've been real busy. I'm starting to take on things. I actually have been teaching people writing, creative writing, which has been amazing. And I do it with lots of different people, and then also helping people with learning English, because my passion really is teaching, which has been awesome. And I get to share some of that passion with all of you because I'm doing something that I've never done before, which is writing a novel. I've tried many times, but never actually got past even the first few paragraphs in chapter one because I just had this self-doubt and this voice in my head that was like, this is crazy. What are you doing? But here we are. I'm on chapter 9. I'm reading chapter 9, and I'm further along in my writing. I hope to be able to finish soon because just a couple days away is NaNoWriMo, which my goal was to try and finish my first draft before November because November is National Novel Writing Month, where people try to write 50,000 words in 30 days. Which I think I'm pretty close to 50,000, and it's been just around a month for me. So it's been awesome, like really awesome journey. And it really is a journey because there's lots of ups and downs in the writing process. And always having to find that motivation inside yourself to continue to move forward, and that discipline to continue writing every day, whether you want to or not, whether you're busy or not. So it's been real crazy. I know I shared some of that in my video from last Friday, but it's been fantastic. So I do want to share with all of you my chapter 9. But before we get there, I want to say a big thank you to those of you who've been following my videos, my channel from the beginning. A huge thank you to those of you who are just starting, just discovering me. But this is a place that's safe for other artists, other writers, people who are on this journey themselves. That was really the purpose of creating this channel, was so that we could come together and support each other, motivate each other, keep each other accountable. I will be starting some other ways to get this going in different ways where we can actually have more of a dialogue and help support each other live. I know Andrew Carter had suggested Discord channel, so I might do something like that. I might do something through other folks have reached out to me about different ways to do this. But I also do a blog as well where I write my thoughts and also updates from this channel on my website, The Frivolous Writer, or not just frivolouswriter.com. But it's linked in my channel bio. So if you want to check that out, you can go ahead and do that as well. Also, if you're interested in other ways to get together, or if you have ideas of other ways for us to come together as a community, because that's really the purpose of this, is I know I'm not the only one that has started and stopped this writing journey multiple times. I know there are thousands of other people out there. So if you're one of those people, make sure you comment on this channel. I follow every writing channel and every reading channel. Anybody who comments on here, I really do go and watch your content. So even if you're not a writing or reading channel, but you just are a channel who's sharing something that you're passionate about, comment below, because I want to follow you and learn about what it is that you do. I found an awesome channel. I can't remember the name of it, but he does book reviews, which is so cool. Where people can send books into him. And I'm so sorry I'm forgetting your name, but I will try and find it. And then one other shout out is to Success Is Mine, because you are consistently on every single video, commenting on every video. You're there for every live viewing. Love your work. I've been reading your short story that you sent me, and it's been awesome to get a little bit more in depth in the universe that you're creating within your series, your book series. So awesome. This has been the highlight of my life for the last few months, and it's been amazing. So thank you to all of you. So with that, a short recap. So from chapter 8, Conrad found out that Maya had gone missing. He went back into his room, and he was able to hone his blinking power, and then found himself in this very eerie, claustrophobic, other dimensional type of world that's very purple and very heavy. Found a blinking light in one of the windows of a home that he was walking towards. So he ran towards it, and as he walked in, he was hit in the back of the head and knocked unconscious. So that's where we are. And now, chapter 9. The hum of the fluorescent lights pressed against Conrad's skull like a migraine he couldn't shake. He could feel every flicker, every uneven buzz, as if the sound itself were alive and burrowing under his skin. He was sitting at the back of Mr. Price's English class, head bent low, pretending to take notes on The Great Gatsby, but not hearing a single word. The room smelled like dry erase markers and rain-damp coats. The window rattled faintly from the wind. His pen hovered over his notebook, a half-written sentence trailing into a shaky line. His hand trembled. He hated this feeling. The moment when everything around him grew too loud and too close. The scrape of chairs, the whisper of gossip, the teacher's droning voice. Even the clock seemed to tick just to taunt him. Conrad closed his eyes for a moment and took a breath. He'd been trying to teach himself how to breathe through these episodes. In through the nose, out through the mouth. But it didn't always work. It never worked fast enough. He felt his pulse rise, pounding behind his ears, his neck tightening like someone had wrapped a hand around it, his vision blurred. "Conrad," a voice said. He blinked and looked up. It was Marcus from 2 rows over, grinning, that smug tilt to his mouth that always made Conrad's stomach drop. "Hey, Space Cadet," Marcus whispered loudly, enough for a few others to hear. "You good over there? You look like you're about to puke." A few snickers scattered across the room. Conrad forced a small smile, the kind that didn't touch his eyes. He bent his head again. His ears were burning. Mr. Price didn't notice or didn't care. Marcus leaned over, his whisper sharp and cutting. "You ever do anything normal, man? Or did you just sit there drawing and your weird little symbols all day?" Conrad's stomach flipped. He realized Marcus had one of the sketchbook pages in his hand, a page torn clean from the spine. One Conrad must have left sticking out by mistake. The page was filled with circles, fractal lines, geometric shapes that seemed to fold in on themselves. Conrad reached for it, but Marcus yanked it away, waving it like a flag. "Yo, look at this. You trying to summon something, dude?" The laughter came quick, spreading through the room like wildfire. Mr. Price turned around, irritated. "Marcus, enough. Hand it back." Marcus grinned wider, balling the paper in his hand. "Sure thing, sir." He tossed the crumpled page towards Conrad. Conrad watched it arc through the air, twisting and falling, landing half in and half out of a bin next to him. Something inside him broke. His chest tightened so suddenly he thought his ribs might crack. He couldn't breathe, couldn't get air. The room was spinning, lights smearing into long, bright streaks. He heard his name again, someone saying it, but the sound was muffled, distorted. He pushed back from his desk, knocking his chair over. The whole class turned to look. Mr. Price said something, but Conrad didn't hear him. He was already stumbling towards the door, one hand clenching at his chest. He burst into the hallway and leaned against the cool wall, gasping. The sound of his breathing echoed in his head. He was shaking so badly that his knees tightened to give out, or threatened to give out. He wanted to run, but he didn't know where to go. The hall was empty, stretching endlessly in both directions, and for a second it didn't even look like his school anymore. The lockers seemed to ripple, colors shifting, metal turning deep purple like bruises blooming under the surface. The lights above him flickered long enough that everything went back black for a heartbeat. He could hear voices in the dark, whispers, his name again, stretched out and soft. Then a hand touched his arm. Hey, Conrad, look at me. He turned, disoriented. Eli was standing there, his hair slightly damp from the gym, his hoodie hanging loose around his shoulders. His expression wasn't one of pity. It was steady, calm. "You're okay," Eli said quietly. "You just need to breathe." Conrad wanted to speak but couldn't. His throat locked up, words stuck behind panic. Eli guided him down to the floor, sitting beside him against the wall. The hallway lights buzzed faintly overhead, flickering in rhythm with Conrad's breathing. "Here," Eli said, holding out his hand. "Match me, okay? In." He inhaled slowly through his nose. "And out." Conrad tried, failed, and then tried again. "Good," Eli murmured. "Keep going." After a few minutes, the world began to settle. The pounding in Conrad's ears dulled. The air felt less sharp. He pressed his palms to his knees, grounding himself. "I'm sorry," he managed to whisper. "I don't know what happened." "You don't have to apologize for breathing too hard," Eli said. He gave a small grin. "You just scared everyone in English, that's all." Conrad let out a broken laugh. "Great." Eli's grin softened. "What happened? Marcus again?" "He's an idiot. Don't let him get into your head." Conrad looked at him, really looked, and something about Eli's eyes made him feel like he could actually believe that. For a moment, silence stretched between them. Then Eli picked up the crumpled sketch page from the floor. Conrad hadn't even realized that Eli had brought it with him. He smoothed it out gently, flattening the wrinkles against his leg. "You drew this?" Conrad nodded, embarrassed. "Yeah, it's nothing. Just shapes. Helps me think." Eli tilted his head, studying it. "It's nothing. I don't know, it's like a map or a doorway." Conrad frowned. "A doorway?" Eli smiled faintly. "Yeah, I don't know why, but it feels like something's behind it. Like if you stared long enough, you'd see the other side." Conrad didn't know what to say. He'd thought the exact same thing before, in those strange moments when he'd drawn the same pattern over and over again, when it felt like the lines wanted to move. "How'd you even—" But before he could finish, the lights flickered, harder this time. The hallway shuddered, colors bending. Conrad felt a vibration deep in his bones, like the world was inhaling. Then everything tilted, the floor rippled beneath them, the edges of reality began to fray. "Conrad!" He clenched his eyes shut and opened them. The hallway was gone. For a split second he saw nothing but darkness, shapes moving at the edge of vision, then a flash, like lightning behind closed eyes. He was back, sitting on the floor, Eli's hand still gripping his arm. Conrad's face was pale. "What just happened?" Conrad shook his head, dizzy. Eli seemed unfazed, as if it only happened for Conrad. Eli broke the silence. "Hey," he said softly. "If you ever feel like that again, the breathing thing, find me, okay? I'll help." The conversation continued as if nothing had happened. Conrad looked at him, surprised. "Why?" "Because," Eli said simply, "you'd do the same for me." Something inside Conrad eased at that, something heavy he hadn't realized he had been carrying. For the first time in months, he felt he wasn't completely alone. The bell rang and corridors had filled and then started to empty. Conrad found himself sitting on the edge of the school courtyard. The sky was bruised purple with dusk. He looked down at his hands, with the faint tremor still lingering in his fingers. The paper Eli had returned to him was folded neatly in his pocket. He could still feel the echo of whatever had happened in the hallway, the flicker, the blur, the sudden tearing sensation in his chest. He took out the paper and unfolded it. The shapes seemed to shift when he stared too long, spiraling inward. He should have felt scared, but he didn't. Not exactly. He felt connected, like there was a thread running through him, pulling at the edge of something vast and invisible. He heard footsteps behind him. "Hey," Eli said, sitting beside him. He handed Conrad a can of soda from the vending machine. "You okay?" Conrad nodded slowly. "Yeah, I think so." Eli took a sip of his drink, then glanced over. "You know, you kind of disappeared back there." Conrad froze. "What do you mean?" Eli frowned slightly. "Back in the hall. You went somewhere else." Conrad looked down at his hands again. They were steady now, but he couldn't shake the memory of the darkness, the sensation of falling through time. "I don't know what that was," he said. Eli smiled faintly. "Whatever it is, you'll figure it out. You've got that look. Your brain's already working on it." Conrad laughed quietly. "You think too much of me." "Maybe, but you need someone to think too much of you sometimes." They sat in silence as the last of the daylight faded. The purple sky deepened, melting into indigo. Conrad's mind drifted. He thought about the strange sketches, the flickering hallway, the feeling of being pulled somewhere else. And he thought about Eli, how calm he'd been when the world was falling apart, how he'd said, "Find me." Conrad didn't know it yet, but this was the moment everything had started. The first thread that would unravel into everything else. The wind picked up, rustling through the trees. The sound was soft, almost like a whisper. Eli stood and stretched. "Come on, you'll miss your bus." Conrad rose, tucking the folded page back into his pocket. They started walking together, the streetlight flickering on by one. For a moment, everything felt normal again. But as they reached the corner, Conrad glanced back at the school. The windows shimmered faintly, the reflection of purple light that it shouldn't have been there. He felt the pull again, faint but unmistakable. He turned to say something, but Eli was gone. "Hey," Conrad said, confused. Darkness, the hum of fluorescent lights again, the echo of his own breath. Somewhere far away, a voice called. "Eli." The name was hanging in the air, sung softly and dreamily. "Eli, come back." Conrad jolted up, remembering that he had been hit in the back of the head by the throbbing pain that shot through his body. He reached back and felt a significant lump on the crown of his skull. His eyes were adjusting to being open. Slowly, the blur subsided, and as he came to realize where he was, the purple cast vision of Eli's room. He suddenly realized he might not be alone and jumped to his feet. He looked around frantically, balling his fists just in case he needed to defend himself from whoever knocked him out. "Sorry about that," an unfamiliar voice spoke from behind him. It was gentle and sincere, but confident. Conrad turned and faced the closet. A silhouette of a boy emerged slowly from the purple shadow. "I thought you were one of them," the boy continued as he got closer. "One of who?" Conrad asked, fists still balled, his arms drawn, still wary about the stranger. "Those shadows. I don't know who they are, but I know you don't want to mess around with them. He said that you were sneaking, You were sneaking around. I thought you were trying to sneak up on me." The stranger was now close enough to Conrad for him to get a better look. "I was sneaking around because I don't know where the hell I am," Conrad said defensively. He took one step away from the stranger. "Wish I could help you there. I'm not sure where we are either." The boy cracked a smirk and added, "Listen, I don't know how you got here, but if you know how to get back, I'd suggest you do it. This place is crazy. Have you seen the shadow people?" "The what?" "The shadow people. Haven't you noticed there are no shadows down here? If you see a shadow, I suggest you run. Don't even look back, just run. They don't move like us. They slide along the floor, the walls, or the walls usually. They're quick too. But when you get close, they turn to smoke. I don't want to know what happens next, but I've seen them take a kid. One turned to smoke and then surrounded this kid, and he just disappeared. It turned back into smoke, or turned back into, I don't know what the word is, a shadow, and then melted onto the floor." Conrad was not sure what to think. He stood staring, a look of astonishment and confusion apparent across his whole body. "Don't just stand there, man. I flipped the light on earlier. They're gonna be here soon. You gotta get out of here." I don't even Conrad spoke loudly. The stranger jumped forward and covered his mouth. Conrad didn't resist. He froze in shock. Come on, man. They can hear you too. You gotta keep your voice down. The stranger was inches away from Conrad's face. They held eye contact, longer than what would typically be required. He broke the tension. I'm Jay. Now you know. You're the first person I've seen in I don't even know how long, so I'm not gonna let you out of my sight. I've got a good feeling about you, man, and I'm always right about my feelings. What's your name? He removed his hand from Conrad's mouth, turned around, and walked back toward the closet. Conrad could hear him packing things into a bag. Jay walked back towards him, slinging a backpack over his shoulders. Conrad, he said, just above a whisper. He was still standing, frozen in the middle of the room. Jay walked up to him and patted him firmly on the chest. Cool, let's go. We gotta find our way back home. Where's home? Conrad asked. Let's talk on the way. Walk softly. Jay held his index finger to his lips and mimicked a shh. They made their way out of the house. So that's it. End of chapter 9 of my very first draft of my novel. So it was so funny in last week's reading of chapter 8, Success's Mind called it. He was like, ooh, are we going to get another character? And you did. You got Jay, a confident, cool person that just hit Conrad over the head, knocked him unconscious, but now has a good feeling about him and where they're going, but also doesn't know much. We also got a little bit more insight into the relationship between Eli and Conrad, which I thought was important because I feel like I haven't really spent any time developing Eli as a character within this book. And so I wanted to give a little bit more. And just one more call out, because I don't really write linearly, which is causing these plot holes. So you can see even here, what I've done is I actually wrote 2 different chapters and then I put them together. I've done this before. I think it was back on chapter 5. I think it was chapter 5, where we learned about Conrad not taking his anxiety medication, etc. So, but I added these 2 things together and I didn't really put them together. I didn't like blend them together well. I felt like this was a little bit better, but still not where I want it to be. But I really feel like I just write when I'm feeling inspired. And so that I write those chapters as they come. So I'm not writing chapter 1 through chapter 30. I am, but not 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm writing chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 13, 10, 12, just as I go, because I have these pieces that I'm wanting to get done. And then what I'm thinking is in my second draft, when I do my first rewrite, that's when I'll go through and kind of make the story linear. But that's where we are. I hope you liked it. I hope you liked learning a little bit more about how Eli was so kind to Conrad when Conrad really wasn't kind to himself. Like, he felt that panic and that pain, and he was kind of being bullied, but then someone else comes in and helps him to realize that he's actually stronger than what he thinks. So that's what I've got for chapter 9. I hope you all like it. I can't wait to hear your feedback on it, what you think could be done differently. I am taking notes. I've told you over and over, I take lots of notes. So anything that you think I could be thinking about or doing differently, or what you're liking about the story or the plot, I want to hear it all. So make sure you comment below. I can't wait to hear from you all. I look forward to hearing what you have to say. And I don't know what I'm going to talk about on Friday yet, but I'll see you all on Friday. And I hope you have an incredible rest of your Tuesday. Bye, everybody.